Why are South Asian moms obsessed with their sons?
The mama's boy, the one that has that really weird relationship with his mom, slightly doesn't know how to keep boundaries with her.
As someone who was this close to getting married to a mama's boy, I'm so glad I dodged that fat bullet.
My mom made me some poison, so I'm gonna eat it. I'm gonna take it.
Why are you all almost 30 and your mom is still doing everything for you? Even folding your laundry,
At this rate, I'm convinced my kids are gonna grow up seeing their dad get like tucked into bed every night by, their not their mum, by my mum, by their grandma.
He's a 10 out of 10, but he's a mama's boy. What number is he?
0.
The Mama's Boy. Now, I'm sure you're all familiar with them. The entitled, overgrown, emotionally stunted man. But what brings a man to be like this? What turns him into somebody who wants all the privilege of being a man, but none of the responsibility?
We're all gonna have Valentine's Day together. So Emily's invited. Of course you're invited. You're number one as always.
Of course. I am number one. Valentine's Day is about love between mother and son. Yeah.
Now, in many South Asian households, men are coddled, babied, and privileged by their parents simply because they're sons. Having a son is like every South Asian parent's dream, but having a daughter is like a burden, a curse.
Unfortunately for me, that meant that girls were not wanted or desired, but boys were. So I was looked upon as a bad entity, almost like a witch or a possessed child. So everyone wouldn't touch me or welcome me or hold me because they felt I was carrying bad spirits.
Boys are put on a pedestal from the very beginning. Their mothers treat them like they are their husbands, and then later he becomes your husband, but he still cannot stand up for you against his parents, can he?
Baby, I'm sorry I lied to you. I just didn't know what to do. I mean, I really don't want to break up.
Then don't!
I can't go against her, she's my mom.
And this is not exclusive to only South Asian culture.
Y'all see how much love he love mommy? That's my baby right there, y'all.
Ew. And before any man gets defensive, to be clear, we're talking about a very particular type of man. If the shoe fits, please do some self-reflection. But if you don't, still kiss your mom on the lips, then sit back, relax, and keep watching. Now let's talk about it. Chapter 1. Uncut umbilical cord. This starts young. In a lot of South Asian households, sons and daughters are not raised the same. Girls are watched more, corrected, restricted. They are expected to behave, help out, stay in line, and not embarrass the family. Boys get far more lenience. They get away with literally everything. Being lazy, messy, irresponsible. In many ways, girls simply can't. Things are brushed off for them that would never be brushed off for a daughter. And I saw this myself growing up. My younger cousin was the only boy, and he got away with literally anything. Meanwhile, I watched both of my cousin's sisters get scolded for stepping one toe out of line. This is where it starts. Girls are raised under pressure and boys are raised under protection. So later on, when that boy grows up, he grows into a man that expects women to adjust around him. It is not that shocking. He was raised that way. And to fully understand a mama's boy, we must first understand the sort of woman that raises such a man. Chapter 2. The woman behind the man. A lot of mothers pour everything into their sons. This book, called Marriage a History: How Love Conquered Marriage by Stephanie, was made aware to me by this creator on TikTok. The book basically explains that in deeply patriarchal households, women often had very little power of their own. So one of the only ways that a woman could gain status and security was through having sons and building strong loyalty with them. There was also a study which found that in some upper-class Hindu families, husbands often didn't build deep emotional closeness with their wives. Instead, family bonds were centered around men and male relatives, while women tried to gain influence by keeping their sons loyal to them, sometimes at the expense of the son's bond with his wife. And I found that so interesting because this is where a lot of the tension with mother-in-law and even sister-in-laws start to make a lot more sense, because some women are not just surviving the system, they end up enforcing it too. And that's a conversation for a whole other video, so please stay tuned. Now there's another part of it too, because daughters are often raised knowing they will leave one day, and if you all are interested in that, I've made a few videos on the harsh realities of being an Indian daughter, so you can check them out if you want to. From young, women are taught how to cook, clean, serve, and carry responsibility, because one day she's gonna have to do all of that for another home, another family, for her husband's family. So the daughter is prepared to go, meanwhile, the son is the one who stays. And this is another reason as to why mothers often become even more attached to him. Her husband is at work all day potentially, possibly emotionally absent, or just not very involved, so the son becomes the center of her entire world. She babies him, overprotects him, defends him, and gets way too attached. That is why some mothers struggle so much when their son grows up and gets married. It is not just love, it is attachment, control, and feeling like the one person who was supposed to stay is now being taken away from her by another woman. So when a wife comes into the picture, tension begins immediately, because now there is another woman in his life and the mother does not always know how to let go. Chapter 3. Raised to be served. A lot of sons are not raised to become independent men. They are raised to be looked after. Food is made for him, his mess is cleaned up, his needs are noticed before he even has to say anything. Meanwhile, the girls in the house are already being taught how to cook, clean, and bear the honor of the entire family. So while the daughter is learning how to carry a home, the son is learning that the home will carry him. This is why some of these men grow up expecting women to do everything for them. Not because they randomly became entitled one day, but because that is what they were used to their whole lives. And then they get married and expect the wife to pick up where the mother left off. Personally, the whole "I want a wife like my mother" thing really weirds me out, because that is not your mother, nor should she be. You are a grown man, but unfortunately in Indian culture, he is still treated like a boy by his own mother. The entitlement from these men is crazy. You hear comments like, "This doesn't taste as good as my mum's food." Crazy part is that it shouldn't taste like her food. If anything, you should know how to cook like her, because she's your mother. You lived with her, not me, and you tasted her food your entire life. Chapter 4. More than a son. Once he gets married, now another woman is expected to step into the role his mother created. Because a lot of these men do not enter marriage ready to be equal partners, they enter marriage expecting care, service, and to be fed with a silver spoon, everything on their plate without moving a finger. So now the wife is expected to basically be his maid and not his wife, because he is still deeply attached to his mother. Sometimes too attached, to the point where emotional enmeshment enters the picture. For those of you who don't know what this term means, let's get into it. Mother-son enmeshment is a dysfunctional, emotionally entangled relationship which is characterized by blurred boundaries, where the mother relies on her son for emotional support, often treating him as a surrogate partner. This dynamic restricts the son's autonomy, identity development, and ability to form healthy adult relationships, often causing high guilt, anxiety, and low self-esteem.
There are some mothers who have a relationship with their sons that is almost like disturbing, like bordering on almost romantic, like an obsession with their son, as if their son is their boyfriend or their husband.
Yeah.
And I think that relationship dynamic is very unhealthy. And when men like that enter romantic relationships with women, those women suffer because the real girlfriend and the real wife in that equation is his mother. And you come secondary, right? And I think when it comes to marriage, you do not want to be with a man who dismisses that covenant and cares more about his mother's opinions and feelings over your opinion and feelings. Like, once you've created your new family, your family together, that's secondary.
And this is where the real problem shows up. He is your husband, but he's busy playing house with his mum. And I am not saying there is anything wrong with caring for your mother at all, but you are married now and your wife should become your first priority. And I know that is gonna ruffle some of your feathers.
Wife, mom, kids, what's the most important?
For me?
Yeah.
Probably my kids.
Then
wife.
Yeah, then
mom.
Mom last.
Yo.
How can you do that? Yeah, wife, mom, kids.
Mom, kids, wife.
Newsflash, she left everything to be married to you, and now she is the one having to adjust? The least you can do is prioritize her, because I can tell you for free, if the roles were reversed, a lot of men would not be able to leave everything behind, their parents, their home, their routine, and move into the wife's house. No chance. So when issues occur, he does not know how to separate himself from his parents. He does not even know how to put his wife first. He wants to be treated like the man of the house, but the second his parents get involved, especially his mother, he folds. Chapter 5: No Backbone. One of the biggest problems with this dynamic is that so many of these men cannot stand up for their wives against their parents. Let me paint the scene for you. Imagine your husband and your mother-in-law are going out somewhere. He is driving, so naturally you go to sit in the passenger seat next to your husband, as you always do. But then he tells you to get in the back so his mum can sit in the front. And then later he tries to dress it up as a respect thing. Now look, I have no problem with the mother sitting in the front if that is just how things happen naturally, or if you chose to do that yourself. But if you're being told to move to the back for no real reason, then yes, that is exactly where the problem starts. Because it will not just be the backseat of the car, you will be in the backseat of that entire relationship. The mother sees herself and her son as the real pair, and you are just there on the side. At that point, the relationship is no longer between two people, it is between three, and you are the third wheel. This exact thing happened to my mum more than once, and I saw it with my own eyes. In fact, I saw this kind of dynamic play out in much bigger ways too. In my father's eyes, his parents could do no wrong, when they were clearly in the wrong, and I couldn't stand it. A man who can never say no to his parents or go against them, yeah, that is embarrassing.
If you had a dispute between your wife and your mum, what would you do?
I've seen so many sort of situations, not just in my own household, other households and whatever, of, arguments and situations between families. I think that's when problems start arising.
But how do you resolve those?
Again, in our community, these things are very hard to resolve, and I think having an actual conversation and sitting down and trying to understand.
But your mum says she's a nightmare. Your wife says your mum's a nightmare. What are you going to do?
This is a common problem in our society. Yeah. It's a very common problem. You look at most dramas on TV that aunties watch or whatever it is. It's all about that, how the mother-in-law doesn't like the daughter-in-law.
Because what kind of husband are you if you cannot protect your wife when it actually matters? What is the point of being married if your parents can disrespect her, undermine her, and cross boundaries, and you just sit there saying nothing? That is the issue. He wants to be seen as the man of the house, but when it is time to actually act like one, he has no backbone, and the wife is left dealing with the consequences of a man who was raised to obey his parents but never taught how to stand beside his partner. This isn't culture, and this is why I don't like it when people hide behind culture to excuse all of this, because this didn't just happen by accident. These men were raised this way. From young, they were taught that they matter more, that they deserve more softness and lenience. Meanwhile, the women are just tolerating and carrying everyone else. So when that same boy grows into a man who expects to be looked after, he struggles to put his wife first and he can't stand up to his parents. People excuse that as just being culture. It's not, it's conditioning. And just because something is common doesn't make it healthy, and just because it's been normalized, it does not make it right. A lot of things get passed down in the name of culture without even being questioned, when really they are just unhealthy patterns that benefit men and burden women. So no, I don't think this is just about a few bad men. I think this is what happens when boys are raised like little kings and girls are raised to carry the weight of everyone around them.
Stop being a mummy's boy. My mummy made me dal. I have to eat it. Oh, but my mum made me cake, so I'm going to eat it. My mum made me some poison, so I'm going to eat it. I'm going to take it. Oh, I'm Pakistani, Indian. I don't know how to cook. Learn to cook. Learn to cook, man. Stop being a bum.